first tip I've got for you when you're filming yourself applies even if you're not filming with a Pocket 3, and that's to have some kind of plan. Even if this is just a basic idea in your head. It could also be something as complicated as an entire script and all of the shots that you want to get. And even if you're just vlogging your daily routine or something like that, at least have an idea in your head of the video that you want to create at the end. The reason for that is it's important because you're going to be doing all of these different jobs. You will forget something and you'll forget to get a shot, or you'll get the wrong shot, or something will be out of focus. Having a plan is going to make your life so much easier, and it's going to mean you don't miss out on important shots. And you can use whatever works for you. You can use bullet points, you can use a to-do list or a task list on your phone, you can print something out on paper, whatever you need to do that suits your workflow. All right, the next tip I've got for you is to not always use continuous autofocus mode. If I just spin you around, there's a big old windmill up there, and I've got continuous autofocus on in the minute. It's kind of focusing up here, so if I slide across and reveal, at some point it's going to try and focus on that windmill, and sometimes you're going to get like a focus bump or a focus jump, and that's not really what you want. It's going to look a bit rubbish. So instead, I'm going to switch back around to the front, and I'm going to change to single shot focus mode. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to tap to focus on that windmill, and then it's going to keep that focus distance. So now when I do the slide, nothing's in focus here, and as I slide out to the left, that windmill is already pre-focused. You can use single shot focus for other things. So for example, you can pre-focus on a point, and then as you walk closer to it, you're going to gradually get into focus. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm just going to balance the Pocket 3 on the floor, and I'm going to tap right at the bottom of the screen here to pre-focus on that point. I'm going to go all the way to the end here, and then as I'm getting closer and closer to the camera, I should slowly start to come into focus as I get closer to the camera. Just provides a nice little effect. When it comes to filming yourself effectively, you might want to consider getting a couple of bits of extra gear for your Pocket 3. If you're concerned about getting cinematic or movie-like motion blur in your videos, you might want to get yourself some variable ND filters or fixed ND filters. This is going to help you control the shutter speed, and it's going to help you get that natural motion blur. And even more than ND filters, I would highly recommend you get a decent tripod for filming yourself. It's just going to make your life so much easier. It's going to give you more flexibility on where you put your Pocket 3. It's going to give you more choice of camera angles and locations, and it's going to mean that your Pocket 3 stays safe as long as you get a decent tripod, and you can walk away from it using active track, and it's going to look great. I've been using this lightweight carbon fiber tripod for years now. It's absolutely fantastic. I'll put a link to it in the description. And there's a couple of items of what I would say is optional gear, but they're really going to give you the ability to have more creative control over when you're filming yourself. The first of which would be some kind of slider that you could put the Pocket 3 on, and the second would be some kind of portable lighting. This is a little aperture light. I'll put a link to this in the description as well. So if you're filming in like darker conditions, you can just turn the light on, and it's going to mean that you can use a lower ISO and get less noise in your image. This particular light is pretty cool because you can also change the color temperature. So if you want a warmer looking light, you can do that, and you can even change it to HSI mode. The next thing you want to think about is to get a variety of different shots or different shot sizes. So I'll show you what I mean. I'll start off by getting a wide shot of where I am and where the car is. I will just set the camera down here, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. I'm gonna just record the car driving into this spot. So that's going to be the wide shot, and then we're going to get a bit closer to the car. Just going to set the shot up down here. So this is going to be the medium shot of me walking around opening the door. And then we're going to come to a close-up of me opening the door and reaching in. To do that, I'm going to put the camera on the driver's side there. Open the door again. And then we can go even closer. Just come back around the other side. And what we're going to do now is going to get a close-up of this bag opening, and so we can see what's inside. Then maybe grabbing the camera out. And then to finish off that little sequence, we'll just turn the camera around again, get a shot of me walking away. And this is what that sequence looks like when it's all edited together. Notice how we're changing up all of the different shot sizes to keep things interesting. The next tip I've got for you when you're filming yourself is to give yourself time. Filming yourself alone takes so much more time than you ever think it will take. You have to set up the shots, you have to review the shots, you have to make sure that your exposure is correct, you have to make sure your focus is correct, you have to make sure your composition looks good. All this takes a lot more time than you ever think it will, so just be aware of your limitations in terms of time and try and plan accordingly, and also don't get too stressed about things. A bit of planning will also help with this. Alright, let's talk about movement. One of the big selling points of the Osmo Pocket 3 is the fact that it's got a gimbal which is stabilizing the whole camera. The Osmo Pocket 3 is made to be moved. So obviously you can do vlogging selfie shots like this. If you switch the camera around to the front, you can get point of view walking shots. But there's so much more you can do when it comes to movement with the Pocket 3. So obviously you can just hold it out at hand's length, but I've got it on a tripod at the minute, which means I can extend the tripod legs and then, using some active track technology, hold the Pocket 3 right out in front of me and get this kind of snorri cam effect. That windmill's making some weird noises. Another useful thing you can do if you've got your Pocket 3 on a tripod is to swing it down and get shots of your feet walking. So I'm just holding the Pocket 3 underslung mode on the end of a tripod. Again, this is kind of mixing up shots as well. Movement can also come when you've got the Pocket 3 stationary, but double tap on your face to enable active track, and then it's going to track you as you walk through the scene. If you want to go even further, you could attach the Osmo Pocket 3 to a slider and then use active track in conjunction with a slider to get even more interesting looking shots. You could even use a suction mount inside your car to film yourself while you're driving. Just remember to stay safe and obviously don't break any laws. By the way, if you're not already subscribed, please do that. I'd really appreciate it. All right, on to the next tip. The next thing that's super important, and quite honestly I forget this all the time, is to do then review. Because you don't have a camera operator recording what's happening, you don't actually know if the take was good or if you're in focus, or maybe you stumbled a word and you didn't realize it. So it's really important after you film every shot, just review it on the inbuilt screen on the Pocket 3. It's going to save you tons of time later, and it's going to mean that you don't miss out on an important shot. Also, I'd recommend that you actually review it on the screen before you move the Pocket 3 or your tripod, just so you don't have to try and recreate the perfect composition which you just got. The next tip I've got for you is to make use of all of the amazing audio features you've got on the Pocket 3. I recommend you get the combo kit when you buy your Pocket 3 that also includes the DJI mic 2, which I'm wearing just underneath my t-shirt here because of wind noise. That's going to give you loads more options. I'll put a link to the creator combo down in the description. The benefit of having this wireless audio is that you can get further and further away from the camera and you're still recording great audio, and it gives you a lot more flexibility when you're filming your shots. You can go as far away as you want because the DJI Mic 2 also features internal backup recording, so even if you lose the wireless signal from the transmitter to the Pocket 3, you're still going to have a backup copy of the audio internally on this transmitter. And you can even set it to record 32-bit float audio, which is going to really help prevent any overloads if you've got too loud audio that you're recording. But that's not all. You can simultaneously record the audio from the wireless transmission, the internal 32-bit float audio, and the audio that the Pocket 3 internal microphones are picking up. That means if you're far away from the Pocket 3, you can mix in that kind of ambient audio that the internal microphones are picking up to get a really nice soundscape. And while we're talking about audio, getting the right music for your videos is super important so you can set the mood and really kind of get the audience to feel what you want them to feel. This is not a sponsored video, but I've been using Epidemic Sound for over 4 years now. If you want a free trial, check out the first link in the video description. So having a camera crew in your pocket is all very well and good, but you don't want to have to keep going back to the camera all the time just to tweak how your shot's looking. You really want to use the Osmo Pocket 3 and pretend it's a camera operator. The great thing is you can use the DJI Mimo app to do that. This is what it looks like on screen at the minute. There's loads of stuff you can do here. So the biggest thing is that you can change the framing of your shot without needing to keep go to the camera and back again and waste your time. It's going to save you a lot of messing around. You can also turn on some really useful features. You hit the 3 dots at the bottom and then toggle this overexposure alert. It's going to turn on these zebras, which is going to show you things that are potentially overexposed. And if you tap the 3 dots at the bottom left, you can also turn on this histogram to get a better idea of your exposure too. You can even do things like start active track. So I'm just going to drag a box around me. Active track's going to start. Now I can move around the scene and still use these on-screen joysticks to reposition where the active track is going to frame me. The next tip I've got for you is just because you've got a gimbal doesn't mean you can't add effects in post-production. So for example, on a tripod shot like this, you could add some fake camera movement or fake camera wobble just to simulate that a real camera person was hand holding a camera. You could digitally crop in just to simulate having a longer telephoto lens. You could add keyframes to create a digital zoom in or out. You could even get that widescreen effect by adding black bars or changing the aspect ratio, and you've even got the 2:3:5:1 aspect ratio guides built into the Pocket 3 if you want to make sure your widescreen compositions look good. When it comes to post-production, you might also want to invest a bit of time learning some basic color grading. For example, how to color grade HLG footage from your Pocket 3. Got an entire video dedicated to that, which I'll put a link to down in the description. The Osmo Pocket 3 is capable of so much, and we've really just scratched the surface. Check out this video next where you're going to learn all the different settings of the Pocket 3 and make sure you don't miss out on any important things you might not know were there. I'm Jason Roberts, please subscribe and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.